Hey y'all, we're gonna make some sourdough discard pizza crackers today. So first of all, start with a big old bowl. And in this bowl, I've already got 1 cup of just all-purpose flour. And next, I'm going to add 1 cup of my sourdough starter. She's good and fed her yesterday afternoon. And doesn't have a name. She's kind of like a messy Martha right now because my bowl's getting pretty nasty. I need to put her in a new jar today. Okay, so into our cup of flour, we're going to do 1 cup of our sourdough discard. Get all that yumminess scraped down in there. Okay. Then we're going to do 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil. I've never tried this recipe before, so I'm excited to try it. I do have my oven preheating right now. It's at 350, but I'm going to lower it when we put our crackers in because we don't want to bake them quickly. We want this to be a slow drying out. So if you have a fan forced oven, that's even better. I have a brand new oven, just got it yesterday, so this is like my first thing baking in it, and hopefully I do not mess it up. All right, so in our bowl, we've got 1 cup of sourdough starter, 1 cup of flour, and I'm just looking over the recipe because I want to make sure the 1/4 cup of oil goes in here and I didn't need to save any for anything else, and it does. So I'm gonna scrape that out because, you know, we love our olive oil. Okay, next we're going to put our salt. I've got Celtic sea salt in here. And for this, we need 1 teaspoon. So I've got a 1/2 teaspoon here. I'm gonna put 2 of these in. There's 1/2. And there's 1. Next, we're going to do a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. Into our bowl. Next, we're going to do a 1/2 teaspoon of crushed red chili pepper flakes. You could add more if you like them hot, but like I said, this is my first time doing this recipe, so my husband don't really like a whole lot of hot stuff. I love it, but we're going to try it by the recipe, and then next time I'll kind of tweak it a little bit according to what we like. Next, I've got some thyme that I harvested from my garden last year. I've only got a little bit left, and so I'm excited to get this garden going this year. So in the thyme, we also have a 1/2 teaspoon. Next is dried oregano. I've only got a little bit of it left from my garden as well. And guys, I just keep these containers that you buy your spices from. I wash them out and I use them for my own. A lot of people do jars, and I am going to do that because I am planning on harvesting a lot more herbs this year. Herbs are expensive if you buy organic, so why not grow them? You can grow them for nearly nothing. Okay, so in here went a 1/2 teaspoon of dried thyme, a 1/2 teaspoon of dried oregano, and then I'm going to get a 1/2 teaspoon of dried basil that I forgot to get. Now this one you can see is from my garden also, and I have a lot more of it, so it went into a quart jar, and I've used almost all of that this year. So I'm going to get this out because I don't have mine finely chopped. I still have it kind of big, and we need a half a teaspoon of this. So I'm just going to eyeball this. And that's about a half teaspoon. So I'm just kind of rubbing it, crushing it as I put it in there. Oh, this smells so good. I put this in my water. I make tea with this. If you have not made basil tea, you need to try that. Okay. And I'm going to put a tablespoon of, it calls for fresh chives, but I don't have any, and it says a tablespoon of fresh chives. So to give it a little bit of that onion hint, I'm just going to stick with the same measurement that they called for everything else. And I'm going to do a half a teaspoon of onion powder. Okay. And that's just going to give it a little bit of onion flavor. Like I said, I can tweak it next time. I'm going to make a cheese ball later, and I'll put the video up for that as well, for us to use these crackers with. So you can also dip it in sauce, dip them in salsa or pizza sauce. Since they are going to taste like pizza, it would be pretty awesome to dip them in pizza sauce. Okay, so into the bowl, we've got all of our ingredients now. And we are going to mix this until it is just mixed. We don't have to, you know, have any stretch and folds like you do for a lot of sourdough stuff. We want it just until all of the flour is incorporated and wet. Okay, you can see, hopefully you can see that. I have just a little bit of flour on the bottom of the bowl, so I'm just flipping that dough over to where it's wet to grab that flour. Make sure it's all incorporated, okay? Now that's it. We just want a shaggy dough just like this, okay? Now what we're going to do is cover this, and I'm going to wet my dish towel. I'm going to cover this and let this rest for 30 minutes, okay? So when that's done, I'll be right back. All right, guys, so through the magic of television, we are back. Our dough has rested for 30 minutes, and I wish it was smell-o-vision because this stuff smells amazing. It smells like pizza. So I just am going to grab this dough and just give it a few rolls in here to pick up all of our extra little pieces. We don't want to leave anything in the bowl. And I'm going to give our parchment paper here, I've already got laid down, just a little sprinkle of flour so that it doesn't stick to it. Okay, so I'm going to put my flour out on the parchment paper, and I'm just going to flatten it out. So I am going to grab my rolling pin and give it a little dusting of flour as well. Just a little bit, just to keep it from sticking. And I'm just going to start rolling. You want your dough to be thin. These are crackers. So the recipe that I'm going by says they recommend no thicker than 1/4 of an inch. So, you know, you don't want it too thick because they are going to rise a little bit. So I think the thinner you can get them, the better. So I'm just going to keep working it until we get it really thin. Okay. If it starts sticking like that, then you'll just want to add a little bit more flour. Just give it a sprinkle and then rub your hand over it, so you're not really adding, you know, a lot of dough, or I mean a lot of flour to the dough to change the consistency. But see how it's starting to stick? So I'm just going to add a little bit more and give it a dusting and a little rub. So I can turn my parchment paper and work up this way a little bit because I'm getting close to the edge over here. Add a little bit more flour. But I wish you could see this. I'm going to try to get it to show you on the camera. The herbs and I can't get over how good this smells. These smell amazing. Let's see if you can get a good picture of that while I have it rolled out. Look at that. Isn't that a beautiful dough? Okay, I'm just going to roll just a little bit more. And when I get it all rolled out, I'll be right back. All right, guys, I've got our dough all rolled out. It is super thin. I'm going to try to show you how thin this is. Can you see how thin that is? It's probably 1/8 of an inch thick. So it's relatively very thin. If you have any really thin parts that you can see through, I would probably rip a little piece off the edge and put it over on that place and just try to keep it consistent throughout. Like, it has taken up almost the entire piece of parchment paper that I have. Now we're going to go ahead and cut this, and I'm just going to use a regular old pizza cutter. You can use whatever you have on hand. If you don't have a pizza cutter, use a knife, you know. You're going to cut these whatever size you want them. You do not have to be picky with this, however you want them. I would recommend trying to be consistent on the size as you cut them. You don't want some of them great big and then some small, because then they're not going to bake consistently. So back in the background, I do have my brand new stove preheating at 170 degrees, which is the lowest setting that it's on. Just bought this stove yesterday. Literally just brought it in the house last night. Got it from Lowe's. It's a GE, and I'm super excited because it connects to my phone. It has air frying on it. There's like a no preheat pizza setting. I'm like totally excited for this. So hopefully it will make my life a little easier, because I like to do quite a bit of baking with my sourdough, and I'm going to start sharing all these videos with you guys because everybody keeps asking me for my recipes. So I just figured it would be easier to share the video and the recipe at the same time. So now you can see I've got them all cut pretty uniformly. I'm going to get my oversized, very well used cookie sheet, and we're going to see if we can get them on here without tearing them all up. There we go. So they're almost bigger than my cookie sheet, but we're going to leave the parchment paper right under them, and I am going to peel these few off that are off the pan and stick them over on the side so they don't burn faster than everything else. Okay. All right, so now they're going to go in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes at 170 degrees. Oh, we forgot one little tidbit. We're going to sprinkle them with a little bit of sea salt. Okay, now let's put them in the oven. When they're all done, we'll be right back. All right, let's see if they're ready. Wow, they look great. Slightly brown, crispy, hot, delicious. Here you go. These are your sourdough discard pizza crackers. I'm just going to turn them out onto a dry dish towel and let them cool. And I'm going to bet they're not going to last long. Happy baking!